Oh fuck. Welcome folks. Welcome folks. Welcome to Power to the Rider. As you can see, quite a lot of things have changed around us. It's season 2 and I'm the new change at Power to the Rider. Gone are the anchors with fake foreign accent.
Kawasaki Ninja.
This time though, we are here with true Indian accent and truly indigenous products. India is a land known for its diverse landscape and a country where snake charmers changed into software programmers. However, when it comes to automobiles, the big change that we have contributed is the weird traffic sense and the world's cheapest car.
So much for the Indian traffic sense and so much for the change. Is there then an Indian automobile engineering product that is not just the cheapest out there in the world, but it's also the best we Indians have ever made? Pulsar has been the harbinger of change in the Indian motorcycling scenario. It introduced many firsts and standardized a lot of things.
Since its introduction, brand Pulsar has been at the center of evolution of motorcycling in India. Over the years, the brand has gone through a lot of changes. Bajaj has introduced a lot of models, and in the process, it has pioneered the standardization of a lot of features like digital consoles, alloy wheels, and so on. But when it really comes to evolution, the Pulsar 200NS has really pushed the envelope, and that becomes apparent starting with its styling. The CB1000R inspired headlight looked stunning, and that, along with the new perimeter steel frame, which is the first among all the Pulsar bikes, gives the NS a very stunning street fighter look. There is no doubt that this is the best looking Pulsar yet, and that has a lot to do with quite a few new features which Bajaj has introduced in this bike. The gas powered shock not only looks good but also makes the tail a lot sleeker. The sleeker looking tail also highlights the new bigger 130/70 rear tire, which looks really good. But actually it can look a lot better if you remove the tire hugger, the secondary tire hugger, because not only does it look ugly, it also splashes a lot of mud on the back of the rider. Then you have the sculpted tank, which is my personal favorite on this bike. I mean, big muscular chisel tanks have always been a Pulsar thing, but this one, it looks really good and really adds to the overall appeal of the bike. Then you have the digital console, which has also gone through a change, and for the good, because it looks much cleaner, much nicer. Even the backlit switches look very good. So overall, this bike looks really beautiful. The only complaint which I have about the overall styling is the reserve knob, because that really sticks out like a sore thumb. It could have been very easily integrated with the overall design. But if it weren't for that, this bike is quite a stunner. So it looks the part. But does it have the performance to back its street fighter demeanor? You bet it does. The way the power is delivered on the NS is unlike any other Pulsar. The usual low and mid-range surge associated with Pulsars has given way to a very linear power delivery to exploit the high revving capacity of the new 4-valve liquid-cooled engine. The bike now makes 23.5 PS of power and weighs about 145 kgs. That gives it an impressive power to weight ratio of 162 PS per ton. Add to that, it makes 18.3 Newton meter of torque, which kicks in as early as 4000 RPM and surges the bike forward all the way to the top. And then there's the new triple spark technology, which Bajaj has incorporated to get the most out of the new OS square engine layout, and it really works like a charm because the fueling on this bike is spot on and the best I've experienced on any Pulsar bike. The only downside, if any, as far as the engine performance is concerned, are the vibrations. They kick in between 4000 to 6000 RPM and really make their presence felt above 9000 RPM. This is a downer because otherwise the engine is really smooth. Having said that though, these vibrations, when you compare them to the older generation of Pulsars or even the Pulsar 220, are almost negligible. Another important feature which I would like to talk about are the brakes. There are no steel braided lines here, but the 280mm front and the 230mm rear pedal disc with floating calipers work beautifully. They put you in the driver's seat irrespective of what speed or situation you are in. Yet, this is not what distinguishes this bike from all its predecessors. What's most important to me is handling, and that is something which none of the Pulsars really excelled at until now, because this bike is one bloody good handler. The new perimeter frame works beautifully and ensures that you stay well planted and well informed all the way through the corner. I mean, if the old generation Pulsars made you feel like a ping pong ball bouncing around in the corners, this one empowers you with the confidence of an experienced track rider. The lower slung muffler and the gas powered monoshock help lower the center of gravity and also help in the mass centralization. This in turn makes the NS a very sharp handler, ready for pretty much any challenge the road can throw at you.
I was really impressed by the traction levels this bike has to offer. This bike comes with a 180 front and a 130/70 rear Euro grip tires. They really perform good in dry and surprisingly good in wet conditions as well.
So what was the quintessential flaw of this brand has turned into one of its biggest strengths with the Pulsar 200NS. I will cover more on the sport riding aspect of this bike when we talk about handling. But as far as the touring is concerned,
Touring, huh? Finally you guys listening? When it comes to touring, there are a few things that play a vital role. One of them is the ground clearance, the other, of course, the handling part, and lastly the reliability. But let me assure you that in the entire trip, the bike never faced a problem. We never had a bad bump, we never had any problem in any water workings. Now that's a big thing for an underbelly exhaust. And even the handling, it suits the bike as a tourer. It has raised handlebars and it makes very comfortable ergonomics. The seats are stiff enough and one of the most comfortable ones in India. And imagine retaking this bike, which is not even launched in the market, and so no one knows how to repair it. But in the entire trip, we never had any problem. It lacks a few things like better tires, a windshield, and maybe a bigger tank. And with crosswinds, the bike does sway a bit. The rear hugger splashes a lot of mud all around you. That's the last thing you want when the terrain itself is muddy. But you know what? All of that doesn't matter. Because you must get me!
Also, the ride quality of the Pulsar NS is very impressive because it's very comfortable, and that also has a lot to do with the gas powered monoshock, because it's stiff enough to inspire a lot of confidence in corners. At the same time, it absorbs all the undulations on the road very well. However, the one problem I have with the ergos of the NS are the knee recesses, or rather the lack of them. The way the tank has been sculpted, it's very beautiful, but then functionality wise, they don't really serve the purpose, because if you look here, the knee recesses are too high for me to lock my knee. So when it comes to anchoring yourself in corners while taking the corners under really hard braking, the knee recesses give you no support absolutely from the top. I think that brings us to a verdict. I have with me Roger, other test rider who has been riding this bike extensively in the city, in the rains, on the highways, on the mountains. So tell me, what do you think of this bike?
Well, Sagar, this bike really came as a revelation to me. Looking at the entire value add-on that they've given to this bike,
Right.
this has been, I mean, it's a beautiful package.
With this bike, what Bajaj have achieved is they have even caught hold the attention of the enthusiasts. People like me and you who are critics of this brand now are showering praises on it. So it's almost cheesy to say that this bike is the best Pulsar yet, because that's how big a leap Bajaj has taken with the NS. I'm not saying that this bike is perfect. I mean, there's still a lot of room for improvement. It's still going to eat into the market of all its competitors, because none of them can come even close to matching it when it comes to the price. So based on all of these factors, we at PTR are really happy with the Pulsar 200NS, and we think that we finally have one bike, a bike by an Indian manufacturer, which can really take its Japanese rivals head on.